Steven Universe episode ideas. These are just ideas, please don't strike me. Okay, so the first idea I had in mind was Jaspers Day Off, and it takes place after the party in my story, Goofy Soldiers. If you haven't read that, you should read on Wattpad. Totally recommend it. Every tiger's on Wattpad, but it's basically when Jasper tries to calm down her temper, forget about Steven, forget about the diamond deal, and spend time in her old kindergarten with Amethyst and the Rubies. I want it to be a very feel-good, average episode. It's a slice of life episode. So yeah, I think the Chronoverse could use that after all these dramatic episodes with Steven. So this takes place in an alternate universe where Jasper met the Rubies, and they saw her get corrupted and all of that, and they trained with her in the cave. So overall, this would be a fun episode to animate, but I just don't have the time. Sorry if this doesn't look like Steven Universe Future, but this is supposed to be a Steven Universe Future episode, and it's basically called A Day with White, where Tiny, Pink Pearl, and Spinel spend time with White Diamond, and they get to know more about White Diamond, her past history, how she was made, since the Chronoverse never explained that. Also, she gets to develop into a genuinely better person, and actually regret her actions against her own kind and other species across the galaxy. So, it's basically a White Diamond redemption episode. After this, I'm going to discuss another redemption episode that might have needed to be added to Future, because they never explain why or how White Diamond could reverse her powers. In this same episode, she will reverse her powers too. It'll show how she reversed them from mind controlling people to letting people control her mind. Spinel was the first one to control this power, so overall, it would be an adorable episode, and I had a few drawings for it I didn't even finish yet. They're on paper. Another Steven Universe Future episode idea, No Face Spinel. At first, I was going to make this a Blue Diamond Redemption episode, but then I thought, hey, the first one that laughed at her was Yellow. And yes, this episode is before the episode A Day with White. Basically, when Yellow Diamond tries to help Spinel get her own identity, she also tries to help herself get her own identity outside of a diamond. And Spinel tries to get her own identity outside of a little play toy, a little playmate. Because let's be honest, Spinel's backstory is like a toy being thrown away. It's basically that, and Pink was the owner. It's another slice of life episode. I know I keep making too many of those, bear with me. I'll make an action one, but Spinel tries to teach Yellow how to be a genuinely better person instead of laughing in people's faces and thinking smaller people are below her. Spinel tries to find her own identity by not depending on one person. By the end of this episode, Spinel spends time alone. She actually discovers that, hey, you could have fun being alone. Just like how I usually have fun being alone right now, so. This episode will also explain how Yellow Diamond reversed her powers into fixing the cluster, and she will have a nightmare about the cluster attacking her, or becoming the cluster, whichever works. I Need Some Space is the episode after the White Diamond episode. It's about Blue Diamond's redemption. Basically what happens is that Pink Pearl spends some time with Blue Diamond in her pool chamber. She ends up getting upset that she's still somewhat stuck on her diamond, even though she fused with Pearl back in volleyball. She still has her mind on her diamond. So Blue learned how to try and cheer Pink Pearl up through these experiences. She learns about grief, and they can relate to each other since they've both been through grief before. They both lost Pink Diamond. Over time, Blue's tears in this episode could evaporate into the clouds you see today, because we need a very good explanation for these smoke weed clouds. And obviously, I think this would be a great explanation if she learned about grief and getting over things, acceptance and such, and death. And I think this would be a good thing to show kids, like, everyone's gonna live and everyone's gonna die, and in the end, we just have to stick together in order to, like, not just get over it, but cope with it and be happier. Sadness always leads to happiness. And I think that would be a very touching episode. This is a very non-canon episode. I thought of this off of one of my Steven Universe OCs. Her name is Viola, aka Purple Spinel. She's a Spinel made by Green 9, which is another OC I made. She has a very Japanese aesthetic to her, and she's obviously a tsundere. She says baka when someone says that she's in love with Cactus Steven, even when she totally is. This is an action-oriented episode. It's basically when Viola tries to convince Steven to use his healing powers in order for her to make a plant army. When he says no, she and Cactus Steven end up fighting him in the Crystal Gems. It's an even match between all of them. It's like so hilarious. It would be a very action-packed episode. But what makes this so strange is that it's a cactus and a Spinel. That wouldn't end very well. Despite her loving pain, I don't think that would end very well for them. I don't know what happens at the end, but I'll figure it out sometime, because, like, this is an action filler episode, and those are rare, and I think Future needs more of those. Not only that, but I think we need Cactus Steven to return, because he was a very useless character. This episode takes place in the original series, Steven Universe. It's called Nice for a Day, and it's when Kevin is dared to be nice for an entire day to Steven. Got this idea from my friend Mackenzie. Go check her out. Basically, Kevin's nice for an entire day to Steven. This is a slice of life episode, but it's also action oriented, since Kevin, Connie, and Steven end up fighting a corrupted gem monster at the end. And he learns about teamwork and friendship, which he all thinks is gross at first, but yeah, this is another redemption episode, since I love redemption so much, but they could have been handled way better in Steven Universe. That, and we don't get that much Kevin around. A Very Special Kid was a comic I made that takes place in an alternate universe where Steven acts like Onion, Onion acts like Steven, Sadie acts like Connie, and Connie acts like Sadie, and much more. There's much more people that are switched around in bizarre ways, and that's why I called it Steven Bizarroverse, but I made a little comic on it already. Basically, Connie meets Steven for the first time and realizes, hey, weirdos aren't so bad after all. But she's gotta go through creepy trial and error first. Think of it as a better version of that episode where Steven hung out with Onion Gang. Only this time, Steven is Onion instead. I'm going to display a few pages on the screen to show my exact idea of how this would look. But yeah. And no, I ain't good at storyboarding, I'm only good at comic writing. This will be written just like Season 1, where they experience the average stuff first, before fighting a corrupted monster at the end. And Onion Steven just rips this thing apart. I mean, he kills it in cold blood, and Connie's like, oh, awesome!